Hey, good evening, everybody. It is July 11th, 2018, and at about 9:15 p.m. Pacific time, my time. Of course, we usually do everything out of Eastern time, but that's okay. But anyways, tonight, I'm going to be streaming on this particular channel, the GDC Community Great Debate Community channel, because I haven't streamed on it for a while. And I figured it might just, be a good time to come on this channel and do a late night Q&A, kind of like what I do on my channel, but, kind of more specific towards the great debate community or things that have been going on, things that you might have questions with or just kind of want to talk about. If you want in, I'm totally cool with that. You just have to message me by some messenger service. I'm not going to post link it anywhere for obvious reasons, but if you want in, just let me know. I'll let you in. So who do we got out there? We got Bram. Is it Steve or cousin it? It's the same thing, man. Yeah, same thing. You see my hair? Yeah, same thing. Pickle Buddy. Yay, the first Google Hangout since the Aaron Hoven after show. Was it? No, I don't think so. I mean, it's been a while. Don't get me wrong, Pickle, but it hasn't been that long, has it? You're going to make me go look? Oh, my goodness. Now I'm curious now. My ADD is kicking in. Oh, shit. You are right, dude. 3 weeks. Aaron Raw debate after show. You were right. Wow. You pay more attention to this than I do. Okay, great. So it's been that long. Yeah, they've all been Discord ones. That's true. But just looking, the last one we had wasn't even a Discord one. It was a Hangout. So yeah, I think that people like the Discord, and I do like the fact that people can go right into the Discord. You don't have to worry about sniping. You don't have to worry about porn bombing. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So it's kind of nice to have the Discord. I wish they would fix the sniping thing. Don't get me wrong. But until they do, we all have to take certain precautions. It sucks. It's the way it is. What are you going to do, right? Hey, Johnny V, how are you? My voice is a little shot today. If you guys can notice me a little harsh sounding today. I felt that way on the Non Sequitur show. Probably why I was pretty quiet. But Don AFA is live with many GDC members right now. Who's Don AFA? I'm not sure that is. Oh, I know that is Don. Another freaking atheist, right? Yeah. Okay. No, I didn't know that. I just randomly picked this time, so I'm not trying to step on anybody. You go watch what you want. Like I said, this is not going to be that fascinating of a hangout unless people come in and want to join. But if not, I just want to answer you guys' questions. If you guys got some things you want to talk about, let me know. I'm okay with that. Glad to be here, amigo. What's happening, John? Not much. It's been, I mean, I've been kind of paying attention to the drama fest that's kind of going on a little bit. And, of course, I don't really bring that up on my other channel because it's just not something I want on my other channel. I do have this channel for catch-all. And occasionally certain things, unfortunately, have to be kind of brought up. It sucks. I don't like it. People know I don't like it. I've extricated myself from 99% of the drama, but there's certain things that just I have such exception to that I just can't even look past myself. And obviously, my dear friend Jade, who passed away, that I'm still just in shock of. But people denigrating her memory lately, that's just been a little bit much. I'm not a sentimental person as far as I don't think that the dead care, right, if people do that. But I do have honor and respect for the fallen, and people that have died in war or died firefighters or heroes, and Jade was a hero. I mean, don't kid yourself. Jade was a fucking hero. She stood up for people. She stood up for what was right. She was, a person who fought for her rights, and to have respect for her and for her sexuality and things of that nature. So yeah, I definitely think she was a hero. And when people denigrate her memory, I just think it's disgusting. Absolutely fucking disgusting. And John, you say, Gary makes, and I'm going to call him Gary. I don't even want to call him G-Man any longer. Just Gary. His name's freaking Gary. I'm going to call him Gary. I don't even care. That's his name. That's what he said when he got to this community. Gary, he has no respect for anybody. I have no respect for him. He's Gary. So anyways, Gary does make theists look bad, yes. And it's unfortunate because you guys have known me for a very long time. I am not out to get theist. I am not out to bash Christians. I'm not out to freaking denigrate anybody's religion. I only go after certain claims. For example, you think the earth is flat. I want to know why you think the earth is flat, and I'll talk to you why you think the earth is flat. You think the earth is young? Okay, let me hear your arguments. That's not saying that God doesn't exist, right? These are not bashing on a Christian for saying, well, you know, you think this, this, and this, and this. Okay, well, that has nothing to do with scientific claims. And I think young Earth creationism and flat Earth are scientific claims. So I do get involved in those discussions. I don't really bother that much on the theological ones. I have, don't get me wrong, but they're a different type of claim. And I keep telling people, you make a big category error when you place the proposition of theism in the realm of science. When you say, oh, well, it's a scientific claim that God exists. Well, no theist that I know is really positing that, except for a handful. But the most theists, they're not positing God as a scientific explanation. They're not positing it as something you do evaluate empirical evidence, right? They're using other forms of evidence rather than empirical. They're using Aquinas's 5 ways, the argument from contingency, fine-tuning arguments. And granted, I'm not a big fan of any of these arguments, but they're not empirical arguments, but they're still arguments. So they're perfectly able to use transcendental arguments, and I have no issue with transcendental arguments, honestly, except for Matt Slicks. But they're not profiting these things to be evaluated scientifically. So I think it's a category error to evaluate the God claim scientifically, as some people I see do, and say, oh, well, you have a hypothesis and you have a null hypothesis, and you know, this is the null hypothesis. Well, that only applies to scientific claims, right? That applies to when you have an experiment. And since the God claim is outside of science because it falls outside of methodological naturalism, then how do you actually make that into a scientific claim, right? So anyways, a little off topic there, but yeah, Gary makes all you theists look bad. Now, I don't watch their channels. I don't watch Gary. I don't watch Ronnie. Very, very rarely. It is until somebody says, hey, Steve, you got to go check out this dumb shit going on. Okay, fine, I'll check it out. But for the most part, I really, honestly, to God, don't watch their stuff. I did, however, watch Ronnie's today, and Ronnie's pleading for G-Man. And this is going to be my take on this, right? Oh, who's Gary? Gary is G-Man. Yeah. And it's perfectly fine to use his first name. He came into the community telling everybody to use his name, Gary. He still tells people to use his name, Gary. It's on all his you go to PayPal, it's on there. His name's Gary, whatever. It's not dox. You can't dox somebody when everybody knows your name. So, and like I said, normally I completely ignore somebody, but the fact that he made a video, it was in Jade's name, right? It's just disgusting. Now, I think the best thing to do for me is to continue to ignore him. Don't get me wrong. But when Ronnie makes a video, you know, trying to get on, you know, have sympathy for G-Man, I think that I'm kind of obligated in some way to give my opinion on that because I've been asked about it. And my opinion is simple. Do I think it's right to call somebody's work to harass them? No, I do not. I think the people that do that are just as bad in some ways as any other person who harasses somebody. I do not advocate for that. I have never done it. I do know who calls his work. I am aware of it, and I've told them I have nothing. I want nothing to do with it. He knows who they are. I want nothing to do with it. Just straight up, not my thing. I think it's extremely horrible for people to get people phone call to their work. I've always advocated that was just wrong. However, there's a caveat here. Just because it's wrong doesn't mean I have to have sympathy for Gary, because I don't. I have absolutely no sympathy for him whatsoever. He has brought on every single despicable fucking thing that could possibly imagine because of his vitriolic spiels that he does against atheists, against people that disagree with him, against people that just because of their sexuality that he thinks they're going to burn in hell and use that to promote his ideological agenda. Yeah, I have no sympathy for Gary. And then I haven't talked to him in ages, and he brings up my name, right? And that oh, you should go DMCA Steve or go in a flagging war with Steve. I haven't mentioned Gary at all. I don't deal with Gary. He's look at I hate to say it, but the Non Sequitur show has only been around 6 months, and we already have more subs than him. Do you think I really give a fuck what Gary thinks? I don't. I do care, though, ever that he's using a friend, you know, and Jade will always be a friend's name to do the despicable things he does. And the only thing I have to say about it is that you get what you deserve, man. I mean, like I said, I'm not advocating people to go do this. Matter of fact, I think it's wrong for people to go do it. But it's hard to have sympathy against somebody who brings it upon themselves to do despicable fucking things and then complains when people do it. He threatened to dox everybody at one time. He still does it. Right? He threatened to call people's work. He called my landlord, or threatened to call my landlord one time. Right? I mean, he threatened to call my landlord. And yet, here he is bitching that people are calling his work. Where's the fucking hypocrisy, Gary? Do you not have any kind of mental prowess to even understand that people are doing to you what you've threatened to do with them in the past? Own up to it, man. I mean, oh yeah, absolutely. Somebody's messaging me. Come and get your happy ass in here. There you go. Okay. Oh, by the way, I got a message. My daughter's birthday is tomorrow, and her mom just said to take her somewhere that she always wanted to go. I'm down with that. Okay. Sorry, daughter takes precedence over you people. No, I'm just kidding. What she does, but all right. So, we get people in here that wanted to come in. Get you shown here. So, yeah, come on in. If you want to voice your opinion on this, let me know. I mean, that's fine. So one of the other things I want to talk about, people have, Robert had mentioned, Matt. Talked about Matt. And Matt made a lame video saying you cast him out. Oh, my God. Look, here's the deal. Matt is sick. Matt has sent me emails saying how much he respects me and that he values the information I give him. And then he hides my comments, right? And thanks to Jackson Wheat, by the way, got in a video of his. Yes, he made a video, very, very good video, and he showed a comment that I made to Matt. But I had to show him the screenshot I made of it because he deleted the comment, and it was basically me explaining to him a little bit about carbon dating and how to break down the formulas, and to get to a formula we can figure out how many half-lives you effectively can use for carbon-14, when it's about 10, I think it comes out to be. I mean, because if you are going around 50 to 57,000 years, you're already down to a tenth of what you're originally at. So if you have a video, which he did on his channel, saying scientists use carbon dating to prove the age of the Earth, they claim. Well, no, they don't, because I guarantee it, I've never met, and I never will meet a scientist that claims that. It's a pure straw man. And so I showed him why it was a straw man. But that's another person. I don't want anything to deal with him. I don't want him around. His own people don't even want him around. I'll tell you a little story. And then I'll kind of turn over here, but I'll tell you a little story. So I went over to a group that he used to be in, and I had seen them kick out General Han Solo a couple days earlier. And I said to them, hey, you guys are a bunch of Christians, and yet the most Christian-like man that I know, you guys removed from your hangout. And yet you keep somebody like Matt Power, who thinks that, you should execute, gay people and that should execute kids. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, you didn't know that? They're like, no, Matt doesn't think that way. Oh, really? And of course I showed them the news articles, and I showed them what is this? What was the name of the whatever blog it was. And definitely, they're like, oh crap, we didn't know this. And I'm like, well, this is one of your brothers in Christ. Maybe you should go have a talk to him. But there are certain people I just think are just not anybody I would ever want to associate with in my life. And people that condemn people because of people's sexuality, people that condemn people because of race, people condemn people because of any kind of bigotry like that, I do not want to have around. And I think the vast majority of people are like that. And kicking him out, that was not a controversial decision by any means. But if he wants to make videos, claiming, oh, well, Steve is persecuting me because I'm Christian. No, I'm not. And that's just absurd. Nobody ever seen that. That never happened. Anyways, hey, Dave.
Hey.
So what do you guys say on any of this while I rest my voice?
Well, I mean, it's...
Speechless, right?
I've been telling people for a long time, you need to stop poking this guy with a stick. You're giving him what he wants, basically. That's exactly what these people want, is attention.
Oh, without question. But it's also making him go nuts. I mean, he's going off the deep end. There's no question about it. He's losing his ties to reality here.
Yeah, he's definitely losing his ties to reality. And it started with this whole people hacking his phone nonsense. Like, okay, no, people didn't hack your phone. You're an idiot. You put your phone number out on the internet at the bottom of your videos, and people prank called you. You put yourself out on the internet all the time. You walk outside your work, and of course, people know where you're at. You walk outside and you dox yourself.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think for a second that anybody hacked his phone, and I know he doxed himself many times.
I know exactly how. I've got Fire RTC on my own Chrome browser because I use it for scam baiting. Scam baiters use it all the time. I could literally make a phone call and make it look like it comes from anywhere in the United States.
Oh yeah. I mean, you could spoof things too, and yeah, like I said, Dave, please. I mean, you don't have to like say one way or another, but I'll ask you. I mean, have I not told these people in no uncertain terms that I want nothing to do with that kind of harassment with G-Man?
Yeah, and
I'm not involved in it by any means.
No,
I mean,
I don't want anything to do with it.
I know you don't either. Yeah, no, straight up. I can tell you right now that Dave and we have absolutely nothing to do with the shit going on with G-Man, not even remotely. And I have explicitly said I don't want anything to do with it. Leave me the fuck out of it. And so I don't know a lot of shit that's going on. In fact, I just recently kind of found out about this. But again, it's hard to have sympathy for him.
It
really is.
It is. And there's a huge part of me that just like after Jade passed away, it's just like that's when it like clicked in my head. Like, I'm not gonna let this guy rule my grief over Jade. I'm not. And I knew he was gonna make it about him. And what I saw today, what Kyle sent me, just it was like, why is he on about Jade still?
I don't know. That's what I don't get. When's the last time you've even seen me have contact with G-Man? It had to be the last. I mean, one of the last times I think was around last time when I had Aaron on here, doing the funniest hangout of all time. But that was one of the last times I spoke to G-Man, if I recall.
Yeah.
So why is he bringing my name into things when I just don't want anything to do with him? I'm not harassing him.
Apparently, I talked to Holy Spackle a couple days ago, or about a week ago, and the only reason I talked to her, I forget the actual person who told me about this, but apparently he's trying to dox me. And he's telling people I'm a pedophiliac and stuff like this.
What did you do to him?
I'm like, I've talked to the guy a total of 3 times, twice as this channel. Like, literally, I've been in a hangout 3 times with him, twice as this channel. And that's it. Like, I don't know what in the world he would have to say about me. And there is no way he could have any evidence of me being a pedophiliac because it's just not true. So I don't know where.
Would it be a pedophile? I don't know. A pedophiliac is that somebody who's like a. I think that.
I don't even know. That's how little I know about it. I know the right term.
I've learned so many new terms since I've been on the internet. I swear to God, things I would have never expected even had labels. Right?
So you know, it's ridiculous. It's the most. I feel like ever since I've known about G-Man, that I wish I'd never heard the name.
Yeah, again, I think everybody tried to reach out to him at one time. I think everybody at least wanted to help him, but we all realized he was a man-child. But that was never in dispute. But I've never seen the depths and depravity that a single person can go until recently. I'm just astounded that this person hasn't reached out for getting a mental assessment test yet. He needs one, and that's why. I think that, and I'll go on record in saying this because obviously this is live, and I want to keep this on this channel or my main channel. But I'll go on record to say that if something actually happens to G-Man, I think the people that are harassing him should be blamed. I don't like to see people mentally tortured, even G-Man. And then again, I have no sympathy for him, but I think that you have to have some kind of impartiality, and you have to say, look, you can't do certain things. And I think harassment is wrong across the board. I mean, I just don't think you should ever harass somebody. I don't think you should ever call somebody's work or bring their wives and kids into it. Right. Not saying that I have sympathy for them, because I don't. But let's look at a live chat here.
Well, they're making fun of my pedophiliac.
I thought it sounds like a flower, doesn't it, or something?
Yeah, or a bloodborne disease.
Or bloodborne disease. You're a pedophiliac. Do you need like AO positive blood? Piggle Pig, my friend, he says it's because you're in the GDC and he's against the whole mega group. I get that, but he lumps me into like, oh well, James one of the dirty atheists. I mean, just last week he's like, Steve's really done really well for his channels, and the non sequitur show's really taken off, and I know he's have told people that he's really impressed by the non sequitur show, and I don't think we've ever talked. Have we talked about G-Man on the non sequitur show? If so, I don't remember.
G-Man on the non sequitur show.
I don't think we ever have, because I said a long time ago I will not have anything to do with G-Man until he. Well,
I know.
At the time he once he apologized to Jade, he apologized to Mel, and that he stopped peddling death with his B-17 garbage. But
I know he was on the Geek Room with Kyle.
Yeah, that's true.
And tried not Silvis at one point, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's the only thing that. Yeah, see, I wasn't involved in that, right? I stuck to my guns. I said I do not want to be involved with him. If I hadn't made that declaration, I probably would have been in there, and I would have been in there, just like drag going after him. But I made a promise, and that was to not have any contact with him until he apologized. Unfortunately, he clearly can't apologize to Jade any longer. As a matter of fact, instead of apologizing to her, he basically using her name to promote his hateful ideology. And that's just, I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
And as far as the other people around him, I don't get it either. It's like you don't. The other people like Veckel and Antonio Fletcher and Shanny for Christ, don't they see that he's just batshit at this point? Don't they see it?
Think about what you just said. Shanny recognizing.
Well, but see, here's the thing. Like Shanny has said at some point that he is nuts. Like she sees it sometimes.
Yeah, but she's not a sane person herself. Now Veckel, he'll only do things behind the scenes, so he says. And of course Ronnie's going to stand by him no matter what. I didn't see once Ronnie apologize for anything and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, G-Man's really lost his shit, right? Yeah, we just need to stop, antagonizing him, and I'm just asking you guys, please stop antagonizing him. That's not what he did. And even if he did, they probably wouldn't stop. But because I'm not gonna front. I do think that G-Man is being harassed, right? I mean, it's no. If you're calling his work, he's being harassed. I mean, let's be realistic here. But does he have any room to complain about it? Not much. He can't take the moral high ground when he's threatening to do the exact same things to people.
No, like I said, my sympathy, it doesn't exist.
Oh yeah, it's zero. I have zero sympathy for him, but I still have to, be fair and say, look at it. You can't call somebody's work, man. You just can't. You just don't do that shit. It's ridiculous. Even if he does threaten it, you can't do it. Yeah, and look, I'm not trying to diagnose with him as any kind of mental thing. I'm saying that I think he needs to go to mental assessment, right? But that's not making a mental diagnosis. I just think that he might be better off if he goes talk to somebody. I don't see anything wrong with that, right? I have never made any diagnosis of what mental disorder he might have, not ever, but he has definitely seemingly needs some attention, seemingly needs some help. What I saw today was bizarre, and it's just an ongoing thing of more bizarre behavior going after more bizarre behavior. Something's not quite right there, and I've known the guy a long time. I've never seen anything like this before. So, yeah, I think Michael Garrett's right. There's a difference between making an observation and a diagnosis, right? But anyways, I'm probably wasting too much time on talking about Gary.
Yeah.
But I'll move on to Ronnie real quick, because, again, I think that his video is just ridiculous. I mean, listen, man. Ronnie, you've been marginalized to the point of obscurity such that nobody gives a shit what you have to say any longer. I mean, 5 people watch your things because you just literally will boil everything down to an argument about ATP mayonnaise. Nobody cares. Get new material, get a real argument, do something. I just don't know what Ronnie thinks that he can call out and say, I'm asking all my Christian friends to do that, blah, blah, blah. Who are those people? I mean, you have 5 people watching your videos, you know? So, let's see here. Ronnie must make Nephilim free look relevant these days. Fair enough. Nephilim free. Let me get that off my chest. It's like, yeah, this is my late night Q and answer things. You guys bring it up to me. I'll always be honest with you guys. So Nephilim free. He's been marginalized to the point of obscurity too. I mean, I don't know what you want to say about Nephi. He hasn't changed in how long? 12 years? 12 years. Yeah. Wow. You want to have some fun though. You guys want to have some fun. Mark my words. Next time he has a hangout, go ask him if it is true that DNA is comprised of amino acids. Just ask him that question. Yeah, enjoy. And just remember that he's their science go-to guy. So Robert says he was sweet to Shannon Q. One best interview. Yeah, no, I think Gary did great on his interview with Shannon Q. I was really impressed. I thought that was a good turning point for him that he could have used. He could have used that to say, hey, look, I really want to have a different online personage. I really want to get away from this vitriolic spewing of hate that I have toward the atheist community and to individuals. Did he do that? No. He took the Dean Esme route, right? He just said, you know what? I'm going to double down everything and just bitch about everybody.
He crashed and burned in the after show.
Why? Well, I mean, I don't understand. He could have actually had a platform where people listened to him. In fact, we were willing to help him. Right? We were like, hey, you know, Kyle would make some freaking graphics for you and shit. And if you wanted to run your channel and have theological discussions, go for it, man. We'll help you out. But nope. He rather just lump everybody together and say, oh, you evil atheist out there, because you all just about lies. Whatever, man. I don't know. So what other questions we got? Dave, you got any questions for me? You never get a chance to ask me questions. Come on, I'll always answer truthfully, or I won't answer at all. I'll just be like, fuck off. But certain questions I'm not going to answer. For most of them I will.
Oh,
like, don't ask me anything about my college days.
My only question would be like, what the hell are we going to do about software? But anyway, but that's not nobody's business but ours. But
yeah, I don't know. We got some glitches to work out.
Well, you know what happened tonight? We're in the middle of the call, vMix call, and it's my license for the vMix. My trial license ran out.
Get out! When I didn't notice that.
Well, not during Non Sequitur show, but during Ideology.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't notice that. I watched for a little while.
Like, literally, Drew was at one of the best possible moments, and
that sucks.
It's like Murphy's Law. It died, so of course my trial's up, and that means we can't use it. So trial over unless somebody buys it for us, and even then,
no, it's too much for that thing.
Kyle's like never gonna use it again, and I'm at that point with him. I'm kind of tending to it.
Yeah, no, I think the Zoom is going to work for us. But anyways, that's another. This is the great debate stuff, not the non sequitur stuff. But
right,
I mean, they're all blended together. Don't get me wrong. Let's be realistic here. And at this point, anybody who's ever been in any of our channels is either non sequitur, great debate, or tangentially related, or whatever. Right? It's one big happy family of pretty. What's the word? I'm trying to be tactful here. Colorful characters, right? You know, you got very colorful characters in the community here. Johnny says, is Kate's show tomorrow? Yeah, Kate's going to be on Atheist Edge tomorrow to give her side of everything. So, be my guess. If you guys want to watch that, I'll be watching it.
There's a couple statements I would like to make about that.
Sure.
Number one, I would like to say people need to separate her medical condition with the argument. Those are two very separate, completely different things. I have
Agreed.
epilepsy. I've had it my whole life. Everybody presents differently. Everybody's seizures are different. You heard that seizure. I've watched the seizure. I've seen it online, and that seizure. If I didn't know, if she hadn't described it, and I hadn't seen her footage on what her seizures looked like before, and I had been multitasking and been in the hangout with her, I might not have noticed that seizure. Like, it happened so fast.
Did you listen to it again? Did you listen to it again?
Yeah. And Steve asked if she had a seizure, and she said no. Now, to be fair to her, people who've had a seizure can't answer that question because they don't know. So it's not a fair question to ask somebody who has seizures. So in both directions, that medical condition is irrelevant to the argument at hand. And the argument between Steve and Kate is a really old one. So let that lie where it will. Separate the argument from the medical condition. If she tries, using the medical condition as an excuse, is kind of it's a non sequitur, for lack of a better term. It's irrelevant.
Did you watch me on Atheist Edge? Because look at
I didn't. Okay. I purposely avoided it.
Okay, that's fine. But you did see the hangout again, right? Did you even hear a pause in my voice, or did I in any way even possibly notice something going on with her when I obviously was not looking? I was looking. You know how I do my mic? I have to look toward my mic to speak directly into it, right?
Right.
And I didn't have the Zoom thing up. I only have the outside hangout up, and I think my email and something else. But there's no possible way I noticed what the hell was going on.
90% of people aren't looking at the hangout screen while they're in a hangout. They're looking at their camera. So, I mean, if the only reason I'm looking at the hangout screen is because I don't look at my camera. And I'm not even looking at the hangout screen. I'm looking at the outside chat. So,
yeah, and it's funny because Crypto just said, and when I watched it again, I thought this exact same thing, Crypto, because I watched it again, and even it was really hard to see. He says it looked like she was sarcastically pretending to conduct an orchestra. I'm not trying to be funny. I thought she was making for the fun of Steve's argument. That's kind of what it looked like to me too. After I was like, "Oh, what the hell did I miss here?" And I did catch it for like a second or so, right? I mean, I did see some hand movement. I didn't know what the hell I was looking at, but still, there's no possible way I would have recognized that as a seizure. And to say that, I'm somehow narcissistic because I didn't happen to notice her having a seizure, that's not fair. And the fact that she was so fine about it that we were joking and laughing afterwards. And again, I've dated somebody that has seizures, a lot of them.
I am not biased towards Steve either. I'm a patron of both Steve and Bionic Dance, and I give about equal amounts to both. So it's not like I have any partiality to either one of them as far as that goes. I find equal validity to some of their arguments. It's just a matter of perspective when you look at it. But
yeah, I'm glad you said separate the two, though, the arguments from the medical stuff, because she's using the medical stuff as a weapon against the arguments,
and that is definitely not cool.
Yeah, and I don't know how anybody does that. Right? I mean,
you got to own your condition. I learned that a long time ago.
And I feel bad for her, dude. I get it, right? Yeah. I have empathy that she suffers from this. I've known she's had these maladies for a while. But again, I would have never recognized it if my life depended on it. And I think, she's using that to say, oh, look, Steve was so wrapped up in his argument that he didn't even notice. Well,
you can't expect everybody in the hangout to focus on the fact that you're an epileptic I mean, I don't expect you and Kyle to be listening for me to have a seizure while you're doing the non sequitur show. That's not a realistic expectation. Not everybody's going to be watching you like a hawk while they're in a hangout with you.
No, we just think you died half the time where we go, Dave, is it hey, Kyle, Dave dead? I don't know, Steve. Hey, what do we got to do if Dave's dead? God, we're gonna have to like restream from somewhere else. Fuck, don't die, Dave. That's how that conversation
You're
goes.
gonna have to reset the stream key to get the stream.
Yeah, we're gonna have to reset the stream key.
That's what you're gonna have to do. I mean, that's.
Yeah. And then Kyle's like, "Can I get his stuff?" I'm like, "No, you can't have Dave's stuff." I get Dave's stuff. No, we don't want anything to happen to you, Dave. But yeah, I mean,
that's the point. I mean, like, if and you know, I know she doesn't know what her triggers are or whatever. That's fine and dandy, and she's pursuing the best course of treatment, etc. She's got that publicized. Great, fantastic, but that doesn't mean people have to watch you. One does not equate, and people don't necessarily know that when or where you're going to have a seizure. So that's not incumbent upon everybody to do that.
Well, I'm waiting to hear what she says tomorrow. I mean, Jim has assured me that he wants her to have a decent conversation, a pleasant one. And I enjoyed going on Atheist Edge, right? I like talking to Jim. He's very fair. He asked very good questions. I didn't felt like he had any bias. I didn't felt like he asked inappropriate questions. I made it absolutely non-personal as much as possible. I just wanted to put out the information, but you know, this ongoing thing that some people think that I have anything against Kate is absolutely ridiculous. You hear the way I talk about Gary and Ronnie, right? I mean, when I don't talk them often or talk about them often. When I do, does it sound like I hold anything back?
No.
Okay, so I mean, if I have something to say, I'm going to say it. And so I've never ever tried to make anything personal with Kate, and that's why I think that video was so shocking, because that's all it was. It had nothing to do with any of the arguments at all.
Well, and to be fair about the video too, it was fresh in her head, and when you have a seizure, it tends to confuse. I've come out of seizures and literally not knowing what happened. Like, I've been in a hospital, and the first couple times this happened to me as an adult, because for a while there I didn't have grand mal seizures at all. But when I started having grand mal seizures and waking up in the hospital, I started putting two and two together. Okay, I'm in the hospital. I must have had a seizure. But for a while there, it was just like, right? Why am I in a hospital? What the hell happened? I don't remember the last thing that happened.
You didn't have to go to the hospital for petite malls, right? Because my ex, petite mal, she would space off a little bit, and she would she would know she had a seizure. She knew most of the time, almost always. Well, she would be like,
I couldn't drive until I was 18. They were under control. And another big issue, the only way I would know I had them was like if I was listening to music. And
are you glad that you don't remember them, if I can ask? I mean, she was always she would remember some for the most part, but for the bigger ones, she never did. I'm thinking, is that kind of a blessing that you don't remember some of the bigger grand malls? Well, or do you do you have some recollection of them?
No, I mean, I don't know what I wouldn't want to remember them, but at the same time, it's kind of.
How do you know you have them? Just because somebody's told you, right? I mean,
right. Well, there's physical after effects, like I've woken up with my tongue bit through. Of course, that heals. That's kind of like
my ex would get very sore. Her muscles would ache. Her jaw would ache.
Yep, that's my problem. I have that problem too.
I still talk to her all the time. So
one of my big triggers was if I was really tired and I tried to take a shower. I've learned not to do that. Always take my shower in the morning after I'm well rested, because if I take a shower when I'm tired, the water hitting my skin will actually cause me to have a trigger, and it'll trigger a seizure. And I've woken up on the floor of the shower with cold water hitting me.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just hard for me to imagine something like that. My heart goes out, obviously. So, yeah, so I mean, when we talk about these things, look at, I mean, there's no ill will toward Kate or her about her medical condition, and I just think that her telling people that people weren't empathetic enough is just, it's just wrong. I mean, we're all empathetic people. We all have a community. We all want the best for people, except for Gary. He can just suck a dick. But for the most part, we all want the best for people, right? But anyway, so somebody had asked, if you don't mind, they had asked what the question was. I asked her that she refused to answer. And I explained on the Atheist Edge if you want to go watch it, but really very simple. She's very much misremembering conversations. And some odd years ago or before, she had put forth a argument that things like babies and rocks were atheist, right? And Ozzy, Dr. Jones, Bob, Pastor Bob, Professor Radcliffe, is that his name? And a few other people were all trying to explain to her why that was such a bad argument. She actually told Dr. Jones and Pastor Bob were both linguists, to shut up, and they didn't know what words meant. So, I mean, she does not want to engage with people and listen to what experts have to say. But that was her argument way back then. And I had dealt with her on that particular argument, trying to explain to her why it's silly to say rocks are atheist, right? I mean, it just waters down the word. I mean, there's no meaning. But it's one of those things, if you want to say that a rock's an atheist, that's fine. I mean, it's your prerogative to do so. Don't be saying that you can't. But we wanted to explain to her the ramifications, the necessary consequences if you do, right? And this was a big thing for quite a while. People were just like, okay, that's like a bad atheist argument. Don't use that argument. And anyways, I didn't want to deal with her that much after that because she just couldn't understand the reason why her argument was so bad. And recently she started coming around, and we were having a hangout on the logical problem evil, specifically dealing at the time with objective morality. And the concept of morality in dreams came up, and she thinks for some reason you have moral obligations to dream characters, or moral obligations in a dream is what she said. And I said, well, I don't think I have moral obligations in dreams, because dreams are morally inert. You have to, in order to have moral obligations, you have to have a moral agent to have an obligation too. You have to have something of more moral concern, the way I'm looking at it. Now, again, if somebody looks at it differently, that's fine. But I just don't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me to have moral obligations for something who's not an object of moral concern. But I want to know her position. So, I'm asking her, do you think that non-playing characters are objects of moral concern? Meaning, if you're playing a video game and you just get you against the computer and you're shooting these things, you're sniping them. Have you committed any crime? Do you have any moral obligations to them? Right? Deontological? Do you have a duty to them? My answer is no. You don't. They're not objects of moral concern. You can't feel. You shouldn't. Even if you feel guilt, that doesn't matter. You did nothing wrong. You have to broken some kind of moral law of some kind, or done something immoral to say that it is immoral to do an action to something that doesn't exist. Right? Well, that was my argument, but I wanted her to know hers, and I just asked her that question, and she's like, "That's a loaded question," and I'm like, "But how is that a loaded question?" In the discourse we're having, we're talking about objective morality, but we're talking about morals and moral obligations and moral values, and you're positing that dreams are not morally inert. Then I'm going to ask you questions about that topic. It just seems reasonable.
Well,
let me, one more second. I promise. One more second. Okay. And the takeaway, though, I told her these are simple yes or no questions, in my opinion, but you can answer them any way you want. She, however, decided to make it on her video saying to people that I said you can only answer this yes or no. There's no other way you can answer. That's it. And anybody who watched the video, The Logical Problem Evil, on my main channel, Steve McRae, can see that never happened. In fact, I even had a blog. We were talking about something else, and I can't remember what it was. But I had to hide Ocean and Bionic Dance and say, look at Ocean, stop interrupting Bionic Dance. Let's give her a minute or so to give her argument and say why her position is, right? And to answer the questions. I don't think it makes sense to say, I only want yes or no. I mean, I remember saying that I never asked him to do that, and I wanted to retract that on the record because I thought about it. There have been times I have actually said, after spending countless whatever time with flat earthers, is always a flat earther that violates these rules, right? But certain flat earthers and young earth creationists, I think I have obviously said, hey, you know what? Enough of this bullshit. You haven't answered any of my questions. Just give me a yes or no and let's move on. I'm done. That's it. You know, you can't answer any kind of questions, but that's rare, right? But I'd never do that to Kate. I didn't do it to Kate. So her saying that I somehow was asking her loaded questions or leading questions or just nonsense, because if you go watch her on the show that she did on the place, or was it NG Studios? What is it? NGS? The place? What studios is that on? Whatever Dr. Jones' channel is. Yeah. She did the same thing. She's telling them, these are people with degrees. I mean, these are PhDs and stuff. And she's like, you're all strong manning me. You're all not letting me, give my argument. You're all, telling them to shut up. They didn't understand. That's just not a really conversation I want to have, right? So,
well, I think this screenshot, or not screenshot, but a thread from Tyler Durning is explains it really well. It says,
yeah, he did a good job.
Do you have moral obligations to NPCs in a video game? That was the question we were talking about that you asked Kate. This question can be a loaded question if it's asked in a yes or no question without room for clarification. It contains a controversial and unjustified assumption that moral obligations exist.
And by the way, he does agree that I never asked her a loaded question.
It's important to note the loaded question is not always as directly damaging as the classic example of have you stopped beating your wife, nor is a loaded question always fallacious.
By the way, I wouldn't technically it is a loaded question, but I would kind of refer to more as what's called a complex fallacy, question fallacy, right? He's right. Right.
It's not always asked. It's not always a bad thing to ask a leading question. It's not. Leading and loaded could be considered two different things. So, because in my opinion, you don't have to, you kind of have to steer a conversation in the direction you want it to go. And as a conversationalist, as an interlocutor, you have to steer the conversation in the way you want it to go to make a point sometimes. Otherwise, why are you having
conversation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Tana makes a good point. I mean, there are hidden assumptions in a lot of questions. Let's be real here. And if you ask somebody that question, it does presuppose moral obligations even exist, right? But it's still a question you can answer, well, no, because I don't believe moral obligations exist, period, right? I mean, but either still, nobody stopped Kate from answering these questions any way she wanted. It's just weird because you go watch what she says, and it's just like, that's not what happened. And if you read these things that you just showed, I asked her numerous times, can you please explain to me why you think this is a loaded question? And of course, Tyler did a great job. He was absolutely right, but that's not what happened. And even said, no, I'm just saying hypothetically. He's like, I don't think that you did this, right? I mean, so he knows I didn't ask a loaded question. But she couldn't even articulate that much. She couldn't even put down what Tyler put down.
Well, and here's another thing. This is where the medical aspect might actually come into it. Because if she was about to have a seizure, it might have affected her ability to answer the question as put.
But this was a different hangout. She wasn't having a seizure that day. This was during the logical problem of evil hangout.
Okay, so I'm confused. Why was she?
Oh, I think I understand what's going on. Okay, let me backtrack a little bit. This is maybe I've mentioned this before, but I think people got a little confused. When they were having their hangout on Mr. Atheist channel, Mr. Atheist wanted me to come in and kind of hash things out with her because she was saying that I kept asking her loaded questions, right? And I wanted to ask her, again, why do you think my questions were loaded? And the loaded questions she was referring to on the logical problem evil, right? That's why I went in there. That's what I was talking about. Now, people have asked her what was the original question on her video, if you go look at it, and she says, I don't remember. I don't know. Okay. And then even this question that I just told you guys, she still doesn't seem to remember me asking her. And then she says, oh, well, no, Steve and I were having a discussion on atheism. Well, no, we weren't, Kate. We weren't. I haven't talked to her on 2 years about atheism that I remember, because I think her reasoning on it is just bizarre, right? And it just doesn't get us anywhere. But that wasn't what we were talking about. She's recalling a conversation from 2 years ago, I think, or something, because it's just, that was not the loaded question things. I played, on the Atheist Edge. What was the question? She kept just saying it was loaded. It was that I was asking her about NPCs.
Well, anyway, like I said, the confusion could have been because she was about to have a seizure.
You're saying during that other hangout?
No, during the one when she was like the one with on Jim's channel.
I got you. I got you. It's possible, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, I can't plan on these things, right? I mean, she's involved in these conversations.
No one can. Like I'm not trying to dismiss
I got you.
To dismiss her intelligence or anything, but epilepsy will mess with your head. Like last fall, I took a leave of absence from work last fall. And the reason I took the leave of absence is because my boss calls me up one day and he says, you haven't logged into work for 2 weeks. Where have you been? And I couldn't answer the question because I, as far as I could remember, hadn't changed my routine one lick. And I come to find out I was actually having petty malls again, and they put me on another anticonvulsant. So it just goes to show you how much it can screw you up and you don't even know it.
And I totally get that, right? I really do. But unfortunately, the ramifications of that is her misremembering things and then inappropriately attacking people like me. And again, I feel sorry. I have been I'll be honest with you. I've been very cordial in all this. People have seen me go into attack mode, and I fully admit I can go into attack mode.
And Hannah Anderson, it does affect her thing. It does get jumbled up, but she admits it. She has problems with her memory.
She's told me this.
She says it in her videos too. So I mean, it's not like she keeps that a secret.
Yeah, no, I get it. But what am I supposed to do if she's attacking me and I know she's got things wrong in her memory, faulty memory?
I don't know. I don't have an answer to that question. So
yeah, and I agree. Like God says, if that's the case, respond simply and short and move on. But then another video comes out, and then another video comes out. It's just like, I don't do attack videos and I don't do response videos, right? I mean, MP had a video. I'm not going to make a response out of it because it was a ridiculous video. It had nothing to do with my argument. It was a straw man. Like I even said during the Atheist Edge thing, I go, hey, he's going to make a video about this, and I guarantee he's not going to get a damn thing right. Guess what? You didn't get a damn thing right. Go figure.
It's funny you brought up MP again because MP, like, he hadn't, I don't know how long he'd been out of the community or had been since he posted in the community. And what's the first thing he posted when he got
atheism? And what's funny is dude, I spent an hour on the phone with him the other day, right? A couple days ago, right? I mean, an hour. I called him I talked to him on the phone. MP and I, this is what I don't get. MP and I get along fantastic off air and off of the internet. I talk to him, like a real person on the telephone kind of stuff, right? I love the guy. I mean, I think the world of him.
Nate's a really nice guy, man.
He's a really nice guy, but people have this weird thing thinking that him and I always have this beef going on, and they even played into that for quite some time. Oh well, Steve's telling everybody they have no beef, but Nate's telling me we have beef. Well, go look on the videos today. He's like, no, I love Steve. It's just we disagree on this. Yeah, well that's true. But I told Nate I don't want to make any videos about you, man. I don't need to, right? It's just, especially if you're going to address my arguments, that's one thing. But I can't respond to somebody who doesn't even know how to articulate my arguments, because then you're refuting a straw man. right? Yeah, pickle pig, pretty much. MP is a nice guy with a poor argument. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Because you know what? If he wants to think that he's defeated my argument, and if it makes him happy, so be it, man. I mean, let the guy. Let the guy have his happiness. I mean, we do know a little about his medical thing. I don't want to go into too much detail, but he has made it public about his eye, and you know what, my heart goes out to him on that. And so, if this brings him a little bit of joy, I guess, in his life, I'm okay with that. I'll take the hit. But if anybody else really wants to talk about my argument, that's fine, because so far, I don't think I have anybody really give me a good argument against my argument. To me, I guess. Is that subjective?
It's all subjective, Steve.
All subjective. Yeah. And not one person has asked what that argument is. Wow, I'm kind of amazed. Do you even know what my? I mean, all in all, what my argument basically boils down to when it comes to that whole atheism stupid thing?
Well, I just chalk it up to let people define what their position is.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? That's fine. That's it.
What they want to call themselves, and you worry about what you call your goddamn self, and then what? And if you don't understand what somebody's position is, fucking ask them.
I think that's that kind of in a nutshell. I mean, it's a little more concise than I would have gone, but yeah, I mean, why would somebody argue about that? I think that's something that needs to be argued against. I don't know. It's weird.
That's been my MO since I started in this whole thing, because there's so many little tiny nuances to people's positions, especially when you get into the more philosophical people out there. Because there's some people out there, like you go into one of Wayne Fillmore's hangouts, and the people that hang out with Wayne Fillmore, you're gonna sit there and you have to be polite, because you don't want to disrespect him, because he's a very respectful person. But you know, you're not arguing on his position. You're arguing against his position. So you know, it's hard to do that sometimes.
Wayne's?
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love Wayne. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I granted, I don't agree with him on a few things, but I mean, he's a hell of a nice guy, and I do talk to him frequently as well. But everybody runs their hangouts differently, and everybody has a reasons to have different hangouts. One of the reasons why people listen to different hangouts is how they're run, right? I mean, I like to think more people will listen to my hangouts on my channel, my main channel, because they know it's going to be entertaining. They know that it's going to be informative. It's going to be a shit show or whatever. There's something worth watching when I have a hangout on my main channel. This one, it's hit or miss. Let's be realistic, but it's still, sometimes it's entertaining. Like, I mean, for example, the one you hosted, God, I wish that was on my main channel. That was the best fucking hangout of all time. You know, it was that good, right? I mean, so it can happen on this channel. So you never know what you're going to get. And God, that was so good. But you know, I like to think that how the owners run their hangout doesn't affect what people are going to watch. Because I don't do any high presentations that much on my channel. I occasionally run OBS, but we save that for the non sequitur show. But on my particular channel, I keep it pretty simple, because I want it generally to be focused on the topics. And I am matter of fact. That is true. I mean, I like to get to the nitty gritty of the conversation. And I think that's probably because, and Dave, maybe you can elaborate on this a little bit if you agree. Do you remember way back when like all the POW talkers got to the scene? And if you want to have a conversation with any of them, you really got to know your shit, and you really got to be precise, and you really got to measure your conversation, your wording, and more than anything else, you've got to be able to willing to have a back and forth and answer questions, right? Because you don't answer a question with a Talk Power Ranger, you're just looking at an idiot. Or you can say, I don't know, don't get me wrong. But I mean, if you just try to say to every question they ask you, oh, that's a fallacy, that's a fallacy, that's a fallacy, they're gonna ream you. And so I think it made me become that type of interlocutor. Does some of that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. You have to really answer carefully.
You do, because they'll nail you on any word, right?
Yep.
And you know, I had a discussion with somebody today where they were fixated on one word, and I don't know whether their argument was good or bad. I'm still debating on it. It might have some value, although it's one of those things that's if you want to take a minor win, okay, fine, but it really doesn't change the bigger picture. But you know, I couldn't believe how myopic they would be on one word, and I'm like, okay, forget that word, forget that line of reasoning. Let's back up. Let's try this. And they kept going back to that other line of reasoning. It's like, no, I'm not positing that any longer because you have an issue with it. Let's move on to something else. Yeah.
Oh, Skydog 59. Interesting. Apparently, Russian Vids thinks that JFK wasn't actually killed and was actually Jimmy Carter, or is actually Jimmy Carter.
Well, yeah. Well, Russian Vids is just weird
because Jimmy Carter's actually not actually dead. So how old would he actually be? Because when was JFK born?
Oh God, JFK would have been how old? Let's see. JFK was born in. We have computers here. He was born in 1917, so he would have been 101 years old in May.
Yeah. Old. Yeah. Jimmy Carter's a little bit younger than that.
Yeah. Right. So we had something about the GE versus distributors. I didn't really watch a lot of it. I watched some of it. It was painful. What I saw. The distributors he's boring, like really boring. And I don't understand why you have. It's like one of those, you know, define what you want kind of things. The definition of anti-theist, I think most of us all agree upon. I mean, I go by the Shannon Q and Godless Cranium definition. And I think Cosmic Skeptics was crap on it, but it was boring. So it wasn't even fault of GE either. You know, was a Goddess Engineer. I mean, props to him for having to deal with that. It was just not an exciting conversation, though.
Yep, he would have been 101 right now, JFK.
Yeah. The OJ Hangout was funny. The OJ Hangout.
Oh, he's talking about the OJ show. One sec.
What was the after Hangout on? Dude, I've done so many different shows and Hangouts. It's all blurry, you know. My memory is going to.
It's. I don't even have my own channel stuff running yet. I'm sitting here trying to work with Vito on that, and we keep missing each other. Like we were supposed to actually do it yesterday, or I guess 2 days ago now because it's now Thursday. We're supposed to do it Tuesday when I found out about my sister and cancer, and then we were supposed to do it today, but I got knocked out by NyQuil because this cold is still kicking my ass.
Oh, I like the NyQuil kicking.
Well, I like it kicking. I like it kicking my ass and helping me sleep, but I'm tired of this cold already. And you know, we are so close to getting Bring Your Best on air. It's just going to be us talking shit about woo-woo videos. That's all it is.
Yeah, I'd be totally down to watch it though. Gotta forget. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, finish saying that. We'll get back to questions.
No, it's just it's going to be a simple enough show to do. Just throw it up in OBS and stream for an hour about a show, and
there you go.
There you go.
Crypto says the distributus was unnecessary, pedantic, and purposely obfuscating. Yeah, I know he's a bit of a pedant. Whatever. I've never been a big fan of the distributist. Steve, who do you think won the Atheist Roast round one? Oh, do you really have to ask me that? Who do you think I thought won? Godless Iowa, hands down. I mean, Apologia did good. And if Godless Iowan hadn't done better, obviously Apologia would have won, but Godless Iowan brought his A game, man. That was brutal, man. So yeah, I was a big fan of Godless Iowans, which is a big surprise, right? Because you wouldn't think somebody as unassuming as the Goddess Iowan, because he is pretty unassuming, could be that vicious. It was wonderful. I enjoyed it. So yeah, people think that the Goddess Iowan also won hands down. So good. So my votes weren't too far off. I think I voted pretty much with everybody except for the first one, I think, right? I think I kind of gave it to Mole, and they give it to Cat Brony, right? But other than that, I think we all voted about the same. You know, Sirius was good, but nah, dude, Sirius was not as brutal or funny as the Goddess Iowin, you know. But I'm glad I'm just glad I'm not in that, because man, that would be brutal. People always talk enough shit about me, right? I mean, for God's sake, can you imagine doing a roast on me? Yeah, probably want to commit suicide. No, I would never do that, by the way. And I do hope that certain people in the community that are having mental issues, I hope they really do get some help, because I really don't want to ever see anybody harm themselves at all, ever, no matter how much I think they're a despicable person. But anyways, one more questions we got. We're going at the hour here, so I didn't want to go too much longer. Now's your time. Ask your questions. We are going to be having some hangouts coming up with math on my channel. We're going to have some more philosophical discussions on my channel. We're going to be talking about, I think we're going to be doing the argument from contingency or the 5-way. I don't know. We're going to do something. So no questions in the live chat? No. All right. Well, I mean, like I said, I like these little late night Q&As, get on for a little while. You doing live calculus, Steve? You know, first of all, you're a math person and you spelled calculus wrong, which is kind of weird. But I'm not what we're going to talk, right? Because I can't spell.
No, that's a jab at.
That's a jab at. I'm sorry, that's a jab at term empiricism, right?
Yeah.
I get it. Right. Well, he did get an A in calculus, dude, right? That he took 4 times. Yeah, I've been doing math hangout. We're going to be doing, I don't know. I think she wants to do matrix theory a little bit more in depth.
I think having her on was great, and I tend to very much agree with her and you that math is taught completely wrong.
Yeah, no, I
to
do
children.
believe that. Yeah, I do believe that.
I think geometry should be one of the first things that kids learn.
I think they kind of do learn geometry first, but I think they don't teach them enough calculus, and they don't teach them number theory.
Yeah.
Oh, do one on the holographic theory? Maybe we'll do that. I like the math ones because honestly, I don't remember my math very well, and so when I get a chance to do a math hangout, it kicks my brain in, right? I'm like, oh, I remember this now, because we have a lot of people that can do math really well. You know, Abad Eulogy does really good at math. Whitey's one of the better ones around here, but trig is not my thing, dude. I could do basic trig, of course, but it's just I would not be comfortable by doing trig. I can do calculated trig.
I would have to brush up on trig, like seriously.
It's basic calc.
Another thing, like if I go back to school, I was talking to someone earlier today about like I would have to take probably some refresher courses because I've been out of school for 25 years. So it's going to be one of those things like, hey, you need to go back and get back into the new way of doing things because there's just so much that's changed. So, you know, I might only have 4 years between where I'm at and a PhD, but I'm giving myself 6 years basically to do it.
That's not bad at all. Yeah, no, if I do anything on trig, the only thing I might want to do, and this is, again, no disrespect to anybody, the only reason I really do this math stuff is mostly for myself. And if people want to watch, that's fine too. Because I'm not a math person, and I don't want to be a math instructor or anything like that because I'm not proficient in math. So I don't want people to like come to me and go, oh, you know, I have a math problem. Let me go to Steve. I won't know what the hell how to solve anything. Go to Abad. He'll be happy to. He'll spend hours and hours and hours helping you out for free because he just does that because he's really cool. Let me give you a cell phone number. It's no, I'm just kidding. He's like, don't send people my way. So I don't want to be known as the math person, but I really do it for myself because I want to see if I can actually do it. So that's it. But I think about doing one on Euler's identity and how to derive it from Euler's formula. Right, nothing too complicated. That'd be pretty fun, wouldn't it? I mean, it would be short, but I think you could really explain to people what it really means to have complex numbers, what it really means to have a relationship between cosine and sine, and how to get it all down to Euler's identity, which I think is one of the most beautiful formulas there is. I mean, e to the I pi equals -1. I mean, that's just, or e to the I pi plus 1 equals 0, right? Either way, you get all 5 things in there with that, but that's just magical, man, right? I want all the math for myself. No, I wish I had the skills like somebody like Yabad had, and people that can actually do calculus really well. But I've been out of it for 25 years, right? So,
well, and like I said, if I'm going into the field that I'm going to be going into, there's a lot of math in that field. Quantum mechanics, there's a lot of math.
Yeah, you have to learn Brockett notation. You might have to learn about modal logic.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit that I don't have that I need. So,
Mr. Sirius wants to watch Steve conjugate live on the stream all night. Ooh, that sounds kinky. I can conjugate verbs. Is Mr. Sirius anything related to Mr. Atheist?
I don't know. I have no idea who he is. All I know is, speaking of NyQuil at this point.
Yeah, I'm fading too. So, hey guys, like I said, I just want to get something on the stream. I haven't been on the stream for ages. It's not even a channel that's even promoted that much, but I will put this out there. If you're interested to running hangouts on this channel to promote your own channel, just let me know. I make you a manager, and Dave used to do them, and I know everybody's been kind of busy with other stuff, but I kind of like to get back into that because I like listening to things at late at night too. And if you run a hangout on this particular channel, I know I can just drop in at any time. But it's used for community stuff. It's a community channel. You just have to be a manager and somebody that I trust, and we're good to go. So, Dave, anything you want to say?
Occasionally, I'll stream Discord from the Non Sequitur Discord onto here, or the Great Debate Community Discord. Although that one seems to have kind of died, for lack of a better
word. Because of all the other Discords, and it's okay. It's it's still there.
Well, it doesn't work quite as well as this channel does, because most people would rather start their own Discord server than you. It's because it's so easy versus
I agree. I totally agree.
Channel as a sub base,
but it is really easy to start an event on this particular channel if you want to do an event, right? Bram, thanks for having this discussion. You're welcome. Look, like I said, I have transparency. I don't hide anything from any of you guys, my viewers, my Patreon. People ask me questions 24/7. I try to answer them the best as possible. It's difficult sometimes because I don't want to be demeaning to anybody. I certainly don't want to be demeaning, to Kate or anything. It's just occasionally I'll come into this channel to vent, and that's all this really is anymore. Is me, every so often venting, because I never said I'm never going to talk about drama. I've never said that. I avoid it on my main channel. I avoid it 90-some-odd%. But certain things are worth talking about, and what I saw today from G-Man and Ronnie, I just thought was vile. I always thought it was vile, and so I just want to go on record of that, because when Gary's threatening people, and then he has the audacity to complain that people are doing this to him, he has no room to talk. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share. I mean, if you want to bitch on this video and see what a big poopy head I am, be my guest. I just ignore those comments anyways, or if they're threatening, they get deleted. But if you want to have some positive comments and positive questions, then please, I invite you to do so. I really look forward to those comments, and I do appreciate all the people that watch my channel, this channel, and especially the awesome people that watch the Non Sequitur Show. I'm having so much fun with that. I know Kyle's having fun with it. Dave, not so much. But no, I'm kidding.
No, I actually have fun, and I appreciate the experience that I get doing that and learning stuff about. I mean,
it is a lot of stuff that we learn. I mean, a lot of our content. So, if anybody hasn't checked out the Non Sequitur Show, the link is probably in the video description. If not, it will be. But if not, just type it in Non Sequitur Show YouTube, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.